We've got the East Coast, West Coast, Florida battle here as Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars fly up to Tampa Bay to take on Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers, who are coming off a good victory on the road to get their team back up to 500 and stay in the NFC South lead and in the playoff hunt as well over the New Orleans Saints. The Jags had a tough loss at home again against the Baltimore Ravens, 23-7 on Sunday Night Football. And a victory, I think they played better than what the score was, but we'll kind of dive into that. They just had turnovers and then could not sack Lamar Jackson. They had a couple sacks on it, but Lamar Jackson was doing Lamar Jackson things. And so this team, Jacksonville, right now, Ryan, seems to be getting a little banged up at the worst time. Andre Cisco and Tyson Campbell did not play in the Week 15 matchup. So two key secondary members of this Jags team. I don't think that was the reason why they lost, but it was just noteworthy. And then at the same time, too, as well, now Trevor Lawrence is in the concussion protocol. So his status is definitely going to need to be monitored throughout the entire week because that is going to be huge for this team just in general. Then at the same time, Tampa Bay seems to be getting healthier at the right time. They'll seem to be playing better football at the right time. They're running the ball significantly better over these past 2 weeks against the Falcons and the Packers, which I think is huge. And Baker Mayfield is also coming up clutch in these moments here. Want to throw it over to you as well. What are your kind of overall thoughts on both of these team seasons so far? And what are some of the objectives for both of these teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Jags have maybe underperformed a little bit. I thought that they would be getting close to sealing up this division by now, but part of that is I think the Titans and Texans are playing better than I expected as well. Everyone in the division, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I thought the Colts would be somewhat competitive. I did not think the Titans nor the Texans would be somewhat competitive. And yeah, they're getting banged up. Zay Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Andre Cisco, Tyson Campbell, all those guys are going to be questionable going into next week. And more often than not this season, it looks like if you get placed in concussion protocol, you're most likely missing the next game. Mm-hmm. And while that's unfortunate, it's a player safety thing, and it's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. This Jags offense, I do think they had a good game last night. It didn't correlate to points, but I think they had over 350 yards of offense.
I'll double check while you continue.
It just didn't correlate to points. They were in the red zone, I think, 2 or 3 times, and it did not, and just didn't convert. So
yeah, they were close. They had 333 total yards, but they did have 2 turnovers, 2 fumbles. And one of them was on just a fluke Trevor Lawrence play, like he's just scrambling, gaining yards, and all of a sudden he just fumbles the ball. I think he just slipped from his hand. It was raining in Jacksonville for a long time before that, so maybe the ball was just moist, I guess. But then they did have 2 missed field goals. They were from 50 plus, but still there's 2 missed field goals.
They had the drive at the end of the half that ended at the 2-yard line. They ran out of time.
Yeah, and they came with no points. Yeah.
So
it was sorry, go ahead.
It was just a masterclass in disasters for them. And so I do think this offense had a better performance than just the 7 points that they put up. But all in all, I mean, this team they've struggled a little bit more than I've thought. And I'll leave the Buccaneers for you, but I will say, I think they're outperforming a lot of what people thought that they would be doing, especially putting up, I think, 34 last week against the Packers.
Yeah.
They're having a really good year. This offensive line seems to be coming along well. This defense, I think, is getting better and playing well at the right time. And Baker Mayfield, I mean, he's having a really solid kind of career resurgence down there in Tampa, and he might have made himself some money this offseason. Not that he's going to go get one of these 5-year, $55 million a year contract, but I definitely think that they should potentially extend him because they're not going to be really in range to go get another quarterback in the draft class.
They'll be in a unique spot, like if they win the division, and then let's see what happens in the playoff. But they're picking in the low 20s. There's some range. I mean, you can look at Bo Nix or Michael Penix. I think J.D. McCarthy potentially. if he comes out. Carson Beck also potentially if he comes out. So some of those names probably won't come out, but they'll be a very unique spot. But I think the season that they've had as a whole, especially over how they played these past couple of weeks, and there's one thing too. I think Baker Mayfield does a really good job as being leaders. He always brings that intensity. I mean, still. I watched this during the Falcons game, and man, when he headbutts guys with their helmets on, it's like, holy cow, it's a little scary. But he was 22 for 28, 381 yards, 4 touchdowns, an overall rating of 158.3. Blanking on the exact number. What's the perfect rating? Is it 160?
It's 158.3, I believe.
Oh, so then he had a perfect game then.
Yeah.
According to ESPN. And as a whole, and then they rushed for 99 yards against this Packers team as well. And actually, the Packers passing defense is one of the better ones. And then defensively, they even kept Jordan Love in check. I say in check. He had 284 yards, but only 2 touchdowns and just able to provide consistent pressure throughout the entire game. Just in general, just a solid win. And they've got a tough road ahead as they play the Jags here. Then they play the Saints next week, and essentially the division clinching matchup, so to say, against both those teams for the NFC South. And then they have a Week 18 an easier victory against Carolina Panthers. So it is going to be a fun road down the way. But Tampa Bay is playing, I think, the right kind of football at the right time. I've said this about Buffalo. And the fact that they're able to run the ball, they're able to do it against the Falcons. And then if they're able to do it here, they did it against the Packers as well. And the Jags, even their running defense is top 10 in the league so far, but also so is the Buccaneers. Both these teams are actually kind of similar, I would say, overall, both statistically in a majority of the facets. Running defense are really good, but passing defense, not so good. Actually, top 5 worst passing defenses in the league. While passing offense-wise, Jags are a little bit better. They've had a couple hundred more passing yards of offense so far. But rushing-wise, they're both also bottom tier as well in their overall rushing offense. I just feel the Bucs rushing offense has started to improve over these past couple of weeks, and if they can continue the trend, it's going to be tough, I think, for Jacksonville to stop this Buccaneers offense as a whole, because Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and company seem to be clicking in the passing game. So it's going to be a phenomenal game. Major playoff implications for both teams involved here. Wouldn't be surprised if this one ends in a tie, just make it even this silly season even that much crazier. But let's get into our predictions here, though. But before we do that, if you have not already, like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. Right tonight, we have one final goal of trying to get to 2,333 subscribers by the end of the year, which is less than 2 weeks away. We're currently sitting at about 2,204. So just 129 away to be exact. So any help would be greatly appreciated. So like, subscribe, help us reach our goal, and also join our growing community of football fanatics. Ryan, I want to throw it over to you here. Who do you think is going to win this game and why?
So originally I was going to go with Jacksonville, but Trevor Lawrence being placed in concussion protocol Sunday night doesn't help. And then I think you look at the current injuries that they have already. It's just not a good mix. And I just kind of feel like the Jags, the stars are just kind of not aligning for them. Whereas I think you look at the flip side of that, Tampa Bay, this passing offense is really picking up. This running offense is really picking up with Rachaad White and this offensive line finally getting kind of their feet set and playing together and building that chemistry. And this Tampa Bay defense is still pretty good. You mentioned they were top 10 run defense. I still like Carlton Davis and the guys that they have there in the secondary. Who's the Antoine Winfield Jr. Solid pieces. So I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I'm really curious to see how this game is played out, because I think it could be Jacksonville just kind of rests everybody this week and gets everybody healthy and comes back for, I think, a division matchup the week after against the Tennessee Titans. So,
yeah, I don't know if they'll rest every. I mean, I think if there's a chance of you playing, I think they're gonna need all systems go I feel going up against this team. I will. So mine will be a stipulation. I think if Trevor Lawrence plays, I will go with Jacksonville. But then if he doesn't play, I'll go with Tampa. So I'll do just a little stipulation there. I, I was actually impressed with this Jags defense and the way that they played, even without Andre Sisco and Tyson Campbell against Baltimore. It's a different type of game, I would say, than how Tampa Bay plays. But Lamar Jackson was actually under a lot of pressure for a majority of the night. But Lamar Jackson then just was doing Lamar Jackson things. I mean, there's a couple plays in my mind where like he should have been sacked, and yet somehow he was able to evade and then get the ball out. While with Tampa Bay, their offense has improved. I am curious, though, if they're going to be able to keep up that same offensive rhythm against a team that's going to be able to provide a little bit more consistent pressure than something that Green Bay would provide, whose defense is pretty solid compared, though. And then if Jacksonville can also keep that similar amount of pressure, Josh Allen has had a really good season so far as well, and I think he'll be able to wreak havoc. But to me, though, this pick is all dependent really on if Trevor Lawrence plays or not. If Lawrence does play, I think I'm going to lean towards himself. And then like the multiple weapons that they have over there with Ridley, Ingram, and also too, I think I need to check the status as well because if Christian Kirk potentially no, he's still going to be on a hire. He's probably going to be out on a hire for the rest of the year. So, but
yeah.
If he doesn't play, though, I definitely saw enough from C.J. Beathard in the couple minutes against the Bengals that gave me a little confidence in his ability to run this offense. So,
yeah. No, I think it's going to be a good one. I think if both teams are fully healthy, I would probably be picking the Jags, just because I think they're the better team. Trevor Lawrence is the better quarterback, and 7-8 times out of 10, that's usually what'll get it done. So,
yeah.
Let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and help Tyler and I reach that goal of getting to 2,333 subscribers. While you're down there, go ahead and leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. I'm taking the Buccaneers. Tyler has a stipulation, but is going with the Jags as of right now. So go ahead and let us know who you think is going to come out ahead, and we will see you guys next time.